should be doing, and they are finding very high rates of celiac disease in the general population in Colorado. What's really unique about this bill in Massachusetts is that it proposes a 3-year pilot program where we would add the celiac screener test to the 12-year-old lipid and cholesterol panels that are already happening in Massachusetts. So we're not adding an additional blood draw. We're not adding another doctor's visit. It's part of a panel that's already happening. And if you look at the prevalence of disease in lipid and cholesterol in kids, it's about 1 in 300, whereas with celiac disease, it's 1 in 100. So the rate is significantly higher of celiac disease in this age group. And so we'll see if this gets through, and if we're actually able to do this, it could really change the entire course of one's life. I was diagnosed 22 years ago when I was in college, but I was sick my entire childhood. And I just think if I had been required to be tested for celiac as part of my normal exams and pediatrician visits as a kid, I would have had a very, very different experience in middle school and high school and college than I did. And I almost feel robbed of experiences that I should have had. And if we can change that story for kids in Massachusetts and, maybe the rest of the country, that would just be a tremendous achievement.
No, and we heard that during testimony at the hearing for this bill. Hazel, my intern, went through that whole process, and she said, I always never hit the growth numbers she was supposed to hit. She always had certain levels that were funny, but nobody ever really, they couldn't figure out why, and they weren't sure. And then it got really bad in her senior year of high school. And I don't know if it was like a third of the year she missed, but she missed so much of it that it really impacted like all the celebrations that she was supposed to be part of and all the celebration with friends. And it would make that much of a difference if we can catch that. And like, I'm sure, like you were saying, I think I probably had it my whole life because things that were happening my whole life stopped happening. So, I think it's so important that we do this. And I really hope, if it doesn't go through this time, it's with both these bills, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to be able to refile them and really push them and make people understand why it's so important. And I mean, when we did the Celiac Awareness Day resolution last year, so many people would reply to my email to be signed on in the house. They were like, "Oh, my wife or my son or my brother and sister or whoever they know somebody with celiac disease." It's so prevalent, and if we can really catch this and make sure that those kids are identified and their lives are, not maybe easier because that's not right. But you know what you're looking for and you know what you need to stay away from. It's just going to make someone's life so much better. So
Absolutely.
I'm so fortunate to be able to partner with you and everyone else on this. And hopefully we just keep moving it forward. But one thing that is really important for me on this podcast that we like to do, and it seems to come in every conversation, is really about how residents themselves can advocate on behalf of this bill, on behalf of the topic in general. We talk about, writing letters, sending emails, all of that. What are some of your ideas of how people can get involved and kind of really talk about why these bills are so important?
So if I was talking to anybody else, I would tell them to write a letter to their representative to tell them to co-sponsor the bill, but I don't have to do that with your district.
No.
But what I will say is that as a human, if you have children at school and you are looking at inclusion, think about how, whether it's celiac disease or food allergies or diabetes or any medically necessary diet, think about how you can be inclusive and supportive of these kids. I think that kids who follow special diets, parents tend to roll their eyes at them or be like, ugh, like this is a hassle.
Yeah.
But please remember, we don't want to be a hassle. The last thing I want is for my celiac disease to impact somebody else. So just before we got on this, I got a text message from one of my really good friends. Yep. And I'm going to read this because I think that this is really, really, really important. So it says, this is a note from a teacher sending it home to the parents. I've been truly blown away by the academic excellence and even more so the community each of you has greatly contributed to. And I'm excited to properly celebrate with you. Students are encouraged to bring a dish or snack from home to share it with the class. Please avoid bringing in dishes or snacks containing common allergens, tree nuts, peanuts, and soy. However, dairy and gluten are A-OK. And this is to a family that has their child has celiac disease.
Oh my.
So they're basically telling everybody to avoid bringing in peanuts, but dairy and gluten, even though there are multiple kids in the class with celiac disease and a dairy allergy.
Oh God.
Like, bring it on in, people. So just, be sensitive.
Yeah.
These people don't want to be difficult.
No.
They don't want to make life more challenging. They're just trying to treat their disease.
Yeah, I know. I would much rather, like, if we go somewhere and they don't have it, let me sit there and I will just hang out with you. Like, I don't need anyone to make me special or be like, we can't go here. I'm like, well, I wouldn't join you if I didn't want to be amongst your company. And I fully understand what I'm getting myself into. But to do that in a kid's classroom is kind of scary. And we do know that May is coming up, and we're excited. I know I'm excited to join with Senator Lovely, you all, and the Celiac Disease Foundation to host the first Celiac Kids Advocacy Day. And Vanessa, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the event? I know I tell anybody I can about it. So
yes, so it's going to be on Wednesday, May 13th at 1 p.m. at the State House. And we are working to bring in kids from every district in Massachusetts to come and learn about both of these bills, and also to come and meet with their representatives and senators at the State House to tell them how important these issues are to us. So there will be tons of gluten-free food and education and just learning more about the disease and how these bills can really support our community.
No, it's going to be really great. And I think any opportunity we have to get people into the State House and to have them be children, I think is like the most wonderful thing we can do, because everybody should know that their voice matters and that they're heard. And being at the State House, the people's house, is crucial to that. There's too often do I hear people tell me, and they're in their 50s or 60s, that they've never been to the State House. And I want everybody to come into the State House. I want everyone to feel empowered to share their voice, and having kids doing that and talking with their senators and talking with their reps is so important, because they're going to listen. They're going to be like, a kid, obviously they'll be excited to miss a day of school or part of a day of school, but it's still an opportunity to hear from a kid who's advocating in that personal experience of what it means to them, whether it personally affects them directly or a sibling or a friend. It is crucial to understand. I mean, I'm working on a few kids, hopefully that'll come from Plymouth, but one of them would love to just participate in universal breakfast and lunch, because all she really wants is the milk, but she can't get the milk without getting the food, and she doesn't want to be wasteful. So, there's so many other reasons that, both these bills are so important, and to get people into the State House, especially children, to advocate. So I'm really so appreciative of all your support on this and bringing everybody in. But as we kind of wrap up, I know I've taken a lot of your time today. Are there any other important pieces of information that you want people to know about, whether it's celiac disease, the foundation, the bills, or the Advocacy Day that I missed?
No, there are a lot of people with celiac disease in Massachusetts, and this is our time to make a difference. And this is really the time where Massachusetts can stand out as a leader in celiac disease for our entire country. So if you live in Massachusetts and you're listening, please write your representatives, come to the State House, come to the Red Sox game on May 22nd. I can share the link, or just Google Red Sox celiac awareness and you'll get taken to the page to get tickets. We'll both be down on the field for that game talking about celiac awareness. Just come out and show your support for this amazing community. And
the great part about the Red Sox game I went to last year, and they do have more options. They had nachos available. There was all kinds of different food available. And I know you said it's going to be even better this year. So. Yeah,
I don't think they were quite prepared for 1,000 or it was 1,600 people with celiac descended upon Fenway Park, but they've heard the message, and they are adding more gluten-free stands.
Maybe they'll solve the hot dog roll problem.
Red Sox, if you're listening, we need good buns.
Please. But I thank you so much for your time today. I really do. I really appreciate all that you're doing, your advocacy. It's so important to everyone in Massachusetts and really the whole country, the work that you all are doing.
Well, we're really grateful to you, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to join this podcast today, and for helping connect the work happening at the State House with advocacy organizations here in our communities to ensure that children and families living with celiac disease have the resources and support and safe access to food they need. A special thank you to Vanessa Weisbrod, Chief Education and Community Engagement Officer with Celiac Disease Foundation, for joining the episode and sharing your expertise, advocacy work, and personal insight. I also want to thank Senator Joan Lovely from the 2nd Essex District for partnering on this important legislation and the advance in the Advocacy Day. I hope today's discussion has given our listeners a clear understanding of celiac disease, the challenges that families face, and the impact that H5012 and S2927 and H5013 and S2928 would have through improving access to nutritional information, safe school meals, and early screening for children. Thank you for listening to Legislative Lens, People and Policy. I'm State Representative Michelle Badger. Our next episode will continue to explore important policy issues that affect our communities here in Massachusetts. In the meantime, you can stay connected with the work we're doing at the State House and in our district by following me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Blue Sky. You can also reach out to me directly at michelle.badger@mahouse.gov with questions, ideas, or share a story you'd like to share. Thanks for tuning in. Take care and have a great day.